Yeah, I don't know. I'm not good at Shakespeare.
To be or not to be? That's the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer some, slings and arrows, things and things. You know who knows Shakespeare really well?
Kenneth Branagh.
Kenneth Branagh.
Maybe.
Let's just talk about him immediately.
Yeah.
Best Shakespeare movies. This includes, the loose adaptations, but also the Kenneth Branagh straight up. This is
not anonymous though.
Not anonymous.
Okay.
Not Shakespeare in Love. Not any movies that have Shakespeare as a character.
But technically, wouldn't Shakespeare in Love also kind of be?
Yes.
Yes.
But it's not good. So
no. Well,
it's an interesting.
Some of these aren't great.
It's Shakespeare in Love is one of those movies. It's interesting to watch because it has such lore behind it. It won all these awards and everything. But it's just a time capsule of that moment. Yeah. Let's talk about Kenneth Branagh first. Okay. This man has directed at least 5 Shakespeare movies, not including the ones where they're doing a Shakespeare play, and it's a bunch of college buddies. He's acted in several more. Yeah. Of course, have done a million plays. Henry V, Much Ado About Nothing, Hamlet, Love's Labour's Lost, and As You Like It. Yeah. He also incorporates Shakespeare tragedy stuff in the Frankenstein movie he did. Yeah. He's also Iago and an Othello with Lawrence Fishburne. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he's popped up in a bunch of other ones as well. But I think his top 2 for sure are Hamlet and Much Ado About Nothing. Blonde Hamlet rules. This movie is insane because it's 4 hours long. How? It's one of the most visually stunning Shakespeare movies you will ever see. Yeah. The to be or not to be scene just gets you amped. Yeah. By the end of it, you're like, yeah! It's a great movie to watch as a miniseries. Yeah. You do not want to try to maybe what I'm thinking of is we watched a lot of it in high school and we watched that scene and then at that it was like, all right, this is where we're stopping for the day. And I think maybe in my mind I'm just like, shit, the scene intermission. There are some clear spots where you can stop. Yeah. And I think he built that in well before he knew that this would be streaming somewhere. Yeah. So, and then Much Ado About Nothing. Yeah. This one's fun because everyone's doing their own little thing. Keanu's in it, doing his own little accent. Denzel's just crushing it, stealing every scene he's in. Michael Keaton's playing a character not anything like the way the Shakespearean historian told him about. Feels very much like, hey, everyone's kind of hearing about this Branagh guy doing it. I think it's after Henry V. Yeah. It almost feels like a Shakespearean Knives Out where they're like, well, I want to be a part of it. Please put me in this movie, please. And they're like, I like Shakespeare. I'm an actor. I can do Shakespeare. Yeah. So then you get all these up-and-comers or people who are like, why is Michael Keaton in this? Why is Keanu Reeves in this? And it's like, it's fun. It's just really fun. Yeah. That's all. I know people love Kenneth Branagh doing Shakespeare. Do you think he'll ever go back? He's 100% going to go back. You think like he's almost aged into like a Macbeth? Because I don't think he's done Macbeth, right? Yeah, I think he may have done a play, but he's not done it on film. Yeah, like he's just aged into that. Yeah, but I think with knowing how much he loves Shakespeare, he might try to do one that hasn't been done in a long time. That's true. Which there are plenty of those, and there's stuff that has never been adapted to film at all ever, whether TV or anything. I think that would be interesting because we were so into like the 5 to 6 that we're like Shakespeare, Yeah. Give me something I don't know about. Speaking of Much Ado About Nothing, a really, really, really recent one came out, Anyone But You. Wait, is that Much Ado About Nothing or is that The Taming of the Shrew? No, it's Much Ado About Nothing. Okay, sorry. But it probably takes all like love stuff, where it's like lovers and lies. Oh, we gotta act like we're in love, but we're actually not in love, but we are in love. Yeah. Yeah, did you like him? Did you think it was a... So Anyone About You. If you don't know, Glenn Powell, Sydney Sweeney just being hot the whole time. And Glenn Powell being maybe too charismatic. A little too charming. Yeah, it really kind of brings everyone else down. Yeah. But it was whatever. It's one of those movies. Just like it's better than I thought it'd be, but it's not as good as people say it is. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, like I think it's
save the industry with these movies. That's totally fine. Like that.
We need more rom-coms.
Yeah, 100%.
Just like Westerns should stay around forever, rom-coms should stay around forever.
Yeah.
And it's a disservice not to make them.
Yeah, and don't just put them on Netflix.
Yeah.
That's the beauty is Anyone But You was in theaters. And I think most people just think it was a Netflix movie.
No. It's because it's huge on Netflix right now. So.
Do you think they should put, like, Netflix should curate, like, a Shakespeare thing? Like, hey, here's the movies kind of around Shakespeare.
They should. Yeah, Netflix.
Netflix.
Algorithm! Listen to us! And then let's go to Taming of the Shrew.
Okay.
The most obvious example is 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yes.
But, like, 4 years later, also was Deliver Us from Eva.
Yeah.
Which has a similar vibe to 10 Things I Hate About You, obviously. But 10 Things I Hate About You is probably what most people know.
Yeah. Well, I think this is the one that knowingly winking at the fact that it is a Shakespeare rip. That it's like everyone kind of, I think, like Patrick Verona, like they all have like Shakespeare like type of names or names from other Shakespeare plays or from the play, or like their dance is a kind of a Shakespearean kind of it's all very much like the way that it's set up. There's even a character who loves Shakespeare, and or two characters that bond over that, and it does feel like the most, hey, we know exactly what we're doing over here.
And
it's also the coolest, maybe.
And it's 2 years after Romeo plus Juliet, so and I think it was already in production.
Yeah.
But obviously, you get the Julia Stiles speech at the near the end of the movie. You get Heath Ledger playing a bad boy, just the cutest bad boy ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in high school when this movie came out, so everyone was in love with Heath Ledger. But also can't be forgotten, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
Krumholtz, right?
Krumholtz is in this movie. Allison Janney is in the movie, and who I can't think of the guy who plays her dad, but he's Larry. What's his name?
Yeah.
He's in Princess Diaries.
Yeah, him.
Yeah. Good movie, though. Yes. Good soundtrack.
A rom-com that elevates itself beyond a rom-com.
It's just a great, also, teen movie.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Good
what
stuff.
else is, I mean, there's not much to say. Everyone else, it's good.
It's good.
It's good.
Some would say it's great.
Some would say it's great.
Maybe that's me.
Some would say maybe it's the best one.
I think it's...
You might say that. I wouldn't say that. Now let's go to Romeo and Juliet.
Okay.
The two most obvious examples is not the one you saw in school, the 1969 one, but Romeo plus Juliet, the 1997 Baz Luhrmann one, is probably the most iconic for any millennial that ever watched this movie. There are some millennials that don't like it, but I think there's more millennials that do like it in Gen X. But there's also West Side Story, which, the Sharks and the Jets and all that jazz.
Yeah. Kind of the first to do it, it feels like,
First to do it in a modern
sense,
way.
Yes, yeah.
It crushed the musical part of it.
Yeah.
And also it's on like Technicolor, so it looks just
incredible.
Amazing. Yeah.
And it's like old school Hollywood, just the backgrounds and
Rita Moreno just crushing it.
So good. And we have a remake of a movie that is just Romeo and Juliet now. That like there's the Spielberg West Side Story. That like almost the Romeo and Juliet aspect, because West Side Story is so big and has other things going for it. That
and
like
it focuses more on the gang war.
Well, and it's the musical part that people kind of forget. Oh yeah, they're star-crossed lovers. And that it's that part has kind of been lost, but because it could be in a good way that it's like it's able to break free of that.
Yeah.
No one's ever saying like 10 Things I Hate About You. Like, hey, it's actually a Shakespeare thing. Like,
it's its own thing.
It's its own thing. Yeah.
Whereas Romeo plus Juliet is modern day Shakespeare with the text. Well, they change a few things, but the text is there.
Yeah.
So it's very old English type talking. Leonardo DiCaprio, Claire Danes, John Leguizamo, but it's got guns and swords, which is very late 90s. A very late 90s, this is so cool thing. But this is Baz Luhrmann, just like, he'd already done a couple movies, I think, but him bursting onto the scene, like, my visual style is amazing. Yeah. You will respect it. But also, Harold Perrineau as Mercutio. Oh. Mercutio is one of my favorite Shakespeare characters, so it's like, to see Harold play it in such a way that is different.
It takes the two best characters and gives them the two best actors. That like Leguizamo and Perrineau, like they are the best parts of the movie. Like the car chase scene is always, I mean, what little there is of it, you know, is so iconic, and it's just really good.
Yeah.
And I love just the vibes of
the
LA
sound,
and the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Just like it's like hot and sweaty, and everyone, like, people are wearing just floral shirts.
If you wanted to know what people thought the late 90s were, Romeo plus Juliet is the movie to watch.
It's really good.
Let's go to 1957, Akira Kurosawa. Okay. Obsessed with Shakespeare. Yeah. A lot of his movies are just like adaptations in a way about Shakespeare stuff. But Throne of Blood is probably what people consider to be his best. It takes Macbeth and flips it on its head. It keeps the general idea the same. But, I mean, it's Akira Kurosawa. Yeah. It's like, you watch any of his movies and you go, oh, I get it. It's the same way Orson Welles with Citizen Kane is like, oh, this is the dude. Yeah. This is the dude that created all these things that people love.
Yeah. It's cool, though, to have that Kurosawa had someone that he liked to take from. Because sometimes it's kind of cool to hear, like when you hear Spielberg and you're like, he invented everything. It's like, well, actually, he loved a thing. Yeah. So it's just neat that, like, another great's like, oh, I just love Shakespeare.
You don't have to be an auteur. Yeah. Sometimes you can, you could be an auteur, but also you take from other things.
Yeah.
Scorsese, for example, doesn't write a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
He takes from other people and makes it his own thing. Yeah. So Akira Kurosawa is the same. I mean, just go watch Kurosawa in general. This is just my PSA to anyone that doesn't know or hasn't seen any of his movies. Start with Throne of Blood. Go to Ran.
Interesting.
Ran. Okay. I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's another Shakespeare one. Just really good.
Not enough Macbeth things either.
No.
I mean, I know we had the Denzel thing, but go watch Ian McKellen and Judi Dench.
Hey, speaking of Ian McKellen, Richard III.
Okay.
Robert Downey Jr. and Ian McKellen in the same movie. Yeah. Annette Bening, all Marvel characters.
Listen,
the first multiverse.
You all thought that Secret Wars was going to be the first place that Downey Jr. and Ian McKellen kind of hang out.
Nope. Sorry, Richard III. This reimagines Richard III in 1930s England, where Richard III is a fascist trying to usurp power and take the throne. I mean, Ian McKellen is one of the goats. Yeah. And him playing
one of the Shakespeare goats. Yeah.
One of the Shakespeare goats. And him playing Richard III in this movie, it's just perfect.
Yeah. Man, I want more like I don't know if I think some of these have not gotten the 10 Things I Hate About You treatment. They've gotten very much like, it's still Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Give me one that's not, you know?
Yeah. And we need more modern adaptations because,
especially these other Shakespeares that aren't like Hamlet. You know, we got Lion King. So
we got Lion King. Yeah. You got Lion King.
This could be our Predator franchise, you know, like where we're just jumping in different.
You know what? Why not put Predator in Shakespeare?
Oh my. Next Predator movie is actually like during the Renaissance.
Yeah, I would be so into it.
We're a Renaissance man, the Predator is, you know?
I want to talk about one that you probably don't think is Shakespeare at all, but Gus Van Sant.
Psycho.
Yes. But Gus Van Sant, borrowed from Henry V and Henry IV, is My Own Private Idaho. Yeah. Keanu Reeves and River Phoenix in these roles. They're two bisexual / gay men, and they're on the road. It's like a road trip movie, but it's also takes parts from Henry V. Just the way they play these two street people is just amazing.
Yeah.
And it's one of the first movies I saw that this is in my top 10.
Yeah.
It's one of the movies I saw that was like, oh, cinema is a different language.
Yeah.
It was the first time I ever saw it and was like, this is cool. It.
It's in your top 4, isn't it? Letterboxd, right?
No, it's close.
It's close. Okay.
My top 10 can
move around, as it should, but that's cool, and that like connection to Shakespeare is like, you know,
and which I didn't know about till recently. So but it's just like, and it's one of River Phoenix's, like, this is when he was trying to break out of that kid actor mold, and then Keanu hadn't done a lot yet, so he was still trying to find himself. All right, now let's talk about Othello.
Okay. What do you want to say?
We did not pick an Othello movie because I don't think there's been a good one. Obviously, Laurence Olivier back in the day did one that was great, but he was in blackface. Yeah. So it's just discounted immediately for that reason. The one in like 2001 with Mekhi Phifer and Julia Stiles?
It's called O. It's got a name.
Is not
good. It's directed by Tim Blake Nelson, which I recently learned about.
It had promise. Yeah. But there was a lot of issues with it.
Yeah.
I just want, this is our speakerphone, megaphone please make a good Othello movie.
There's one with Lawrence Fishburne that we watched a little bit of in school. The issue is that Othello is such a complicated text.
Yeah.
It's not like complicated in the sense like it's, aged poorly. It's more just like, how do you talk about a more Caucasian man kind of meddling in the lives of these two people and kind of ruining someone's good name.
Now is the time. We have a lot of great directors looking to do something. We already talked about there needs to be more Shakespeare adaptations.
Yeah.
I think Othello is ready and waiting for anybody.
Because we have O.
Yeah.
Whatever. But that's complicated too because O takes place, I think, like a high school or a college. So you're taking a very adult story and you're trying to make it a teen drama, which does not work. Which is maybe the biggest problem of the movie is that it's trying to do two things. But
Iago is perhaps one of Shakespeare's best villains.
So good. Yeah. Do you think we're about to go on another Shakespeare run?
I think so. Look, it's the summer. That's when Shakespeare pops back up.
Yeah.
Maybe someone is going to go out to New York City when they have a lot of Shakespeare plays out in the parks and just be like inspired and be like, you know what? I can make this. We need more. We need more. Saltburn is also not Shakespeare, but heavily. I can tell it's like Saltburn may give inspiration to people to adapt Shakespeare.
What about Get Over It? We didn't get to talk about it.
Look, it's not a great movie.
Get Over It may be one of the most random movies I ever saw.
Yeah,
I ever just rented it. I rented it from Hastings, and it's like, it's one of those Shakespeare movies with an insane cast.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's got
Mila Kunis, it's got Kirsten Dunst, it's got Shane West,
it's got
Cisco.
Cisco, that's right. Yeah, from Drew Hill.
From Drew Hill. Coolio is in this movie. I think Carmen Electra's in this movie.
The late '90s to mid 2000s, the casting in some of those movies is
wild.
Love it.
Insane.
Love it.
Yeah. So if you want a bad one, or not really even a bad one, maybe just a weird one,
go
check that one out.